All right, coming to you live from Times Square, friends of Jeff. Well, half of us anyway. What's up, Jay?
What's up, Jeff? I'm still live from my basement.
I'm in Times Square, New York City. So here for work.
Nice.
But yeah, I like coming out here. It's nice.
Day after the Super Bowl, is there any hangover from the Super Bowl in downtown New York or no?
No, I think we were too far removed from it here. So I got in this afternoon and yeah, Philly won. So they're a couple hours away. And
Right.
I think most of the localized rioting was probably in that area.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. What'd you think of the game?
The game
Price?
yes and no. I feel like the game went how it probably should have, but I'm also surprised that it did, if that makes sense, because we've talked in the past that, Mahomes in the playoffs, he's really hard to bet against. And I got to tell you, he looked human, mortal, dare I say, kind of scared. I thought he played very timid yesterday up until the fourth quarter when it was pretty much out of hand. But yeah, I mean, credit the Eagles defense, man. They were very good yesterday.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Surprised, but not really. I feel like they were the worst 15-2 team in the league, and I said that for a few weeks now. And they ran into an opponent that showed no mercy. I am surprised at the utter domination in that first half. I mean, Kansas City didn't do shit in the first half. I mean, it was nuts.
No, I mean, and what's crazy is it's not like they went after Kansas City's offense like full bore. I mean, they blitzed one time the entire game. Every other play, they brought 4 defensive linemen, and that's all it took. And they just were absolutely relentless yesterday.
Yep, 6 sacks, a bunch of hits, a bunch of pressures, and that was pretty much the 4-man rush against Kansas City all day long.
You know what it kind of reminded me of is watching what the Bears went through. I mean, Mahomes went through a lot of what Caleb went through on a regular basis. And I think that just goes to show that if you have a dominant defensive line or an offensive line that can't handle what's going on, I don't care who you are, you're going to struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. I think, Philly was the better team, and they played like it. I am surprised that really nothing changed until the fourth quarter-ish for Kansas City, where they got a couple touchdowns and kind of garbage time almost for the game. But I was shocked that there wasn't really a lot of coaching adjustments made and not quick enough, because, I don't know, just the offense for Kansas City didn't adjust, the defense didn't adjust. Maybe it was just the lines were too big and you can't outcoach the physicality maybe of both sides. But they only ran the ball 11 times the entire game, Kansas City did, and Mahomes was 4 of those. Meanwhile, you've got Philadelphia, who you knew Saquon was going to get the rock. He got 25 carries, only 57 yards, but they rushed for 46 times. And Saquon was only 25 of those. So it was clear that Mahomes had no help. I think they tried to put it all on his shoulders, and it didn't.
Well, I mean, he took the blame, which that's what a good quarterback does. But I don't think it was all necessarily his fault. And you're right. A lot of their success was in garbage time. They scored 16 of their 22 points in the fourth quarter after the game was essentially over. He did wind up with 257 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he threw 2 interceptions, one being a pick 6, which was, a really nice return by Cooper DeJean. But, you just got to credit Philadelphia because, Kansas City on defense kind of did what you thought they would do and kind of focus on Barkley the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And they were successful in that. He only averaged 2.3 yards a carry, but Jalen Hurts just, what a game, man. I mean, that guy did a little bit of everything. At three total touchdowns with 2 passing and 1 rushing, and he was the guy that they needed him to be in order to win. And hey, that's why I got the MVP.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have to play lights out. That certainly helps. But the commitment to run, even if they were only averaging 3 yards, there really weren't that many 3rd and longs. Or, they even went for it on 4th down a couple of times and got penalties and other things to bail them out. And of course, the tush push helps them out quite a bit when they're, 1 or 2 yards away. But yeah, he didn't have to play, out of his mind. He played a good, decent, solid game. Almost a game manager type game.
Yeah.
It was successful. And they let the Chiefs make mistakes. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. He's probably the right quarterback for that system. And he only really made, I think, one bad play, and that was that interception on the pass down the sideline, and he just underthrew it by a lot.
Yeah,
and that was just not a good play. But
yeah, I mean, he was on the run. Yeah, he was on the run. I think he threw it off his back foot and, trying to make something happen when he really had nothing. And yeah, I mean, it was obvious that it was going to be intercepted. But yeah, I mean, you could say it was almost like watching when the Ravens won when Trent Dilfer was quarterback. I thought it was almost a game manager type win, but he just,
he had some scrambles that were great. And
yeah. I mean, he had 11 carries for 72 yards himself, and that included
it was a sneaky 11. I had to look up the stats. I'm like, okay, well, because my wife and I were talking in the 4th quarter, I'm like, all right, who's the MVP here? Because nobody really stood out. And then I realized, I'm like, holy shit, he's got 11 carries for 72 yards on the ground. And he's 17-22 for 2 touchdowns. And yeah, he had the 1 interception, but kind of hard to argue against those stats. I mean, that's a game I'll take from any quarterback any day.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and you'd never see this, right? But the true MVPs were the 4 defensive linemen for the Eagles, and they dictated the action the whole game, and it basically changed everything. So, but you'll never see, we're going to name the entire defensive line the Super Bowl MVP, but
they should though. Like, if they wanted to make it fair and make it okay, in a game like that, I think you give it to the offensive defensive lines as a unit, Yeah,
I think you acknowledge the greatness of what happened. I mean, 4 defensive linemen, they didn't blitz once. And, they left 7 guys in coverage. I think they were all in zone coverage, and Mahomes just really couldn't find anybody. I mean, granted, Kelsey had 2 drops in the first half, and he had 0 catches at halftime. And, the only Kansas City receiver of substance that had anything was Worthy, who had 8 catches for 157 yards. Granted, one of them was like a 60-yard bomb at the end, but still, credit Philadelphia.
They played really well. I think they outplayed, outcoached every facet of the game. It was just it was domination. The game was over by halftime, and then it came to the 3rd quarter. It was like, all right, and even the brain trust, and the NFL, you're watching on TV, they got to get a score or something right away, to get into it. But it was just a slow, methodical march down the field every time Philly had the ball, and they had way more time of possession and limited the number of attempts that Mahomes was going to have. And at some point, it was like, all right, well, Mahomes probably has 5 possessions left, and then it was 4, and it was like, it's already, they need to score every time. And a touchdown here will basically kind of seal it. And they got a field goal instead. And it was too much. And it was just, like I said, I thought it was just a complete domination of the Chiefs.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I remember, I think Kevin Burkhardt at one point said, well, the Chiefs are only 4 touchdowns and 4 2-point conversions away here. So, barring something crazy, it could happen. I'm thinking, dude, this game has long been over.
Well, they're trying to drum up somehow to, keep people watching. And at that point, it was like, all right, well, what commercial am I going to see now? And,
well, I was waiting for the reference to Tom Brady from Tom Brady when they came back against the Falcons in that Super Bowl. And I don't think they ever really mentioned it, which was interesting. And I know Brady started to reference himself a little bit later, maybe just to, like you said, keep things interesting and stuff. And then he started talking about Gronkowski a little bit and things like that. But yeah, it really wasn't. The second half was really boring, to be honest with you. But And what was interesting was the first half you had that phantom pass interference or whatever the hell it was.
And that would immediately was like, all right, here we go again, right? Everybody's
I thought, oh shit, we're in for a long day.
Yeah.
But there was the makeup call, and then Mahomes even got
the hands of the face Mahomes thing. Like, all right, well, that's not anything.
Yeah, and later Mahomes got hit in the face pretty hard, and they didn't call it at all. So
yeah,
it
wasn't the game I wanted. It was the game we deserved.
You're right. Yeah.
It was just like, all right, well, Kansas City kind of squeaked by the entire year. They kind of, they made the playoffs, and there's a good team there, but they're not. I don't think they're that good. So I think it would have been a lot more entertaining to have seen either the Bills or the Ravens, right, against that defense and that team. But that didn't happen. This is what we got. Philly showed up when it was time. You can't beat, what is it, 1,600 pounds, 1,800 pounds of offensive line pushing every play. It's nuts.
Well, if you look at the Eagles roster as a whole, it's kind of a perfect roster, right? You've got
where are they
quarterback.
Weak?
Yeah, they're not. That's the thing. They're
right.
not, So, they've got a bit of everything, and they draft well. They pay the guys they need to pay, and,
and
they can't really argue with anything they do. Yeah, exactly. So
I think the only thing that would have been perfect would have been if Saquon could have gotten a touchdown, because I was kind of pulling for him. I was like, all right, let's go get it, man.
Well, yeah, it kind of seemed like this was Barkley's year, right? It's like, okay,
right.
It's almost like when the Bears won the Super Bowl way back when, but Walter Payton didn't get a touchdown.
Right.
So,
But he got his ring. Good for him. And, good on the Eagles for going out and spending the money to get him, and everyone else that went and picked up. So,
for sure.
Now the season's over, and, what else do we have? Well, now it's Aaron Rodgers. Probably done in the Jets is what I'm hearing, and maybe he goes to Tennessee, but I think we got a little bit of a hole here.
Yeah, well, it's Tennessee. Could it be Vegas? Could it be, dare I say, Minnesota? Matt brought that up last week, as a possibility, and I thought,
I think he's a cancer, and I don't think any team.
I don't know if they want McCarthy around that, but whatever. Matt could dream while he's on his honeymoon.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers would accept the role of a bridge quarterback and mentor somebody,
and not start?
Let's say he starts the season, but he's clearly gone after a year, maybe two at most. Do you think he has the mentor mentality to be that kind of person for a young guy? I don't either.
No.
I think when he's done, he's done. He's not willing to teach or to mentor a younger player coming in. Like, Favre didn't do it for him. He's not doing it for anybody else.
Yeah, I don't think he did it for Jordan Love. He's not going to be like what Kirk Cousins turned into in Atlanta, right? So, no, I don't think so. If he were to play, he's going to start and, screw anybody else on the roster who thinks they're going to compete with him for position. So
that's why I don't think he's a good pickup for any team.
No, I don't
he's
either.
A cancer at this point.
I
certainly wouldn't pick him up until after the draft. I don't think he's going to be available anyway, but I think you wait and see how the draft comes out. And then, is there a team that is that close that they think an Aaron Rodgers can help them win?
No,
like get
I don't
to the
think
Super Bowl next year? I don't think so. Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. I think the teams that are contenders already have their guy. And I think the teams that are rebuilding have their guy, and then the only teams that don't have their guy are going to go find one in the draft, because, who wants a 40-year-old or however the hell old
41,
he is,
I think, at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, Aaron Rodgers on your team who, doesn't, it's not like he lit it up in New York, They got him his receiver.
Yeah.
They brought in Devontae Adams, and
they brought in two receivers. They brought in the other guy before that even. So, yeah, he called a lot of shots getting people he wanted there, and just didn't happen. And I don't know his age. He still put up almost 4,000 yards passing, but he had some bad early first games. Maybe that was him skipping training camp. He
Maybe.
just took training camp, and you need that time, especially coming off an Achilles, and just didn't make any sense. Like he's too much of a lone gunman type mentality. I don't think he's a good fit for any team right now.
Yeah, no, I think cancer is a perfect word for him. So
good. So we're agreed. He's a cancer, and we're going to go ahead and say that we're not signing him to our team.
I will tell you this: I would like to see the Bears kind of try and follow the Eagles' blueprint as best they can, and build from the line out in both cases. I mean, Philly's offensive line is terrific. One of their guards is a free agent. Oh, is that a little sound effect right there? There we go.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. Probably going to get a copyright straight. I don't know where
all
that came
I'm
from.
hearing is Monday Night Football. I don't know where that's coming from. Is that from you or from me?
Message? Wasn't me, as far as I know. Maybe we're getting hacked, as Aaron Rodgers doesn't want us to taint the pool of available jobs for him.
Yeah, I really don't know what that is.
All right, well, let's not worry about it.
All right.
Again, we'll deal with it. What were we talking about before we were so rudely interrupted?
I was going to say, can you still hear it? Because I hear it loud and clear.
Oh, I don't hear it, so it must be on your side.
Oh, I hear Monday Night Football theme. I don't know what's going on. But anyway.
Is it on your computer somewhere? You got an ad playing, maybe? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let me see.
Did NFL or ESPN.com sneak in something and they got an auto-playing video somewhere?
Yes, that was my computer.
There you go.
And there we go. All right, I shut it down.
See, they're trying to get us, man. They don't want FOJ to succeed. They don't like it when you tell the truth.
When you bash Aaron Rodgers, I guess that's what happens. So anyway,
all the Aaron Rodgers fans out there.
Yeah. So, all right. So now you turn to the combine here in 2 weeks, and what's cool about the NFL is it's like there's never any time really off, because you got the combine in 2 weeks, you got free agency next month, and you got the draft 2 months from now.
And I don't know if you knew this based on, the 40 million commercials that aired in the game last night, but the United Football League is also starting up here.
I did know that.
Is there a league that I can't think of a league I have less interest in than the UFL? I think I would watch a baseball game over that. And that is saying a lot.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the United Football League. I don't think I've ever watched a game, let alone a minute of it. But I do know that I think the Bears hired a defensive line coach from a team in that league somewhere this week. I forget his name. I forget what team he came from, but I know it was not an NFL team, and I don't think it was a Canadian Football League team. That's a possibility, but I'm not 100% on that.
Well, it's the minor leagues through the NFL, right? Well, minor leagues. I don't know. Where does it fit, right? Because it's probably somewhere skill-wise in between college and NFL. I'm guessing the UFL is made up of a bunch of undrafted college players for the most part that
most likely
weren't good enough to get drafted, but that's fine, right? I'm curious to see in a couple of years if it turns into a breeding ground for talent, right? People who maybe need more time to develop or whatever it may be. But
could be
as of right now, I have zero interest all in watching any of those games, and I guess I don't care about college football either. So maybe that's where it stems. Like, call me when you hit the big time.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, yeah, most of the guys obviously just come out of college. I mean, the rule is, I guess you have to be out of high school for 3 years, and then you're eligible for the NFL. That's the only rule they have. So I don't think if they don't go to college, or they're not good enough to make a college team, and somehow they make one of these other teams. I don't know if it's. I guess you could. I don't think it's ever been done, but I've never seen any language that says you have to necessarily go to college. No, I don't think you do. I just think it's probably the pathway that gets you the most visibility, unless you have, a mixtape of some sort that you're able to send to NFL teams in lieu of your college years. But who knows? Yeah. I mean, part of the problem the USFL has is that they're not really in any major markets.
Your teams are in Arlington, Texas, Birmingham, Alabama. Detroit is probably their biggest. Well, Houston's not a big market. But other than Detroit, Houston, you got Memphis, San Antonio, St. Louis, and Washington, D.C. Those aren't really major metros.
No, not really. No, if you don't, I'm sorry. If your league doesn't have a team in New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, it doesn't really mean much.
You don't matter. How about that?
No, there you go.
Right.
You do not matter.
Did you have a favorite commercial for the Super Bowl?
Not really. I mean, they didn't really stand out to me. Nothing like comes to mind that I was like, oh man, that was hilarious, or oh wow, I was really blown away by that. Did you?
I liked the Jeep one with Harrison Ford. I thought that was a good one.
That was good.
I don't know if I've seen him. I don't think I've seen him hawk a car before. Interesting. But I thought that was a good one. The weirdest one has to have been the one with the AI seal singing Kiss from a Rose while he's in the boat, and then it was like a seal who looks like Seal. It was like in the first half. I don't remember when it was exactly, but my wife and I were like, what the fuck did we just see? What's that?
If you're Seal, if that's where your career has gone and you sign off on that, yeah. That was a little.
And the coffee mate one. I just didn't understand that either, about the guy putting, I don't know, creamer or whatever it is on his coffee, I'm assuming. I don't know what he was supposed to be drinking. It looked like beer. I don't know. There was like, that one was a weird one. The really weird Tubi commercials with the cowboy hat, like flesh hats that they were wearing.
Now as you talk about them, they're coming back to me. Yeah, that was
right,
that was a little strange.
Yeah, it just didn't. I don't know why, and it was on multiple times too. And the average cost for a Super Bowl ad this year was $8 million. And Tubi, I mean, we're talking about it, so I guess that's good. But it's not a good talk about it. I'm not going to go out and download Tubi for any reason. But it was just creepy. These flesh-colored cowboy hats. It just didn't make any sense.
Those were definitely weird. Definitely weird.
I thought it was just okay. Most of the commercials were fine. I mean, I always like a good Dunkin' Donuts commercial where they riff on other people. Oh, the other one was good was so Ben Affleck and Casey Affleck on the Dunkin' Donuts one was a good one.
Yeah, that was solid. And
then the one with Stella Artois and David Beckham and Matt Damon. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah,
I did like the end of the Harrison Ford commercial when he was talking about Jeep, even though my name is Ford. You know, that kind of thing. That was well done. So, you know, it's cool. Yeah. So what did you? Show? I was just going to ask you. So, what did you think of halftime?
I thought it was good. I couldn't understand quite a bit of it, and what turns out is the national broadcast had much poorer audio than if you watch it on YouTube. So, if you watch it on YouTube, it's actually a really good show. But I remember like straining, like I can't hear it. But I thought visually, it was really good. It was cool, the flag and the people and kind of walking around. And I was wondering if he was going to drop in the Drake diss track, or if he was just going to say, all right, I won my Grammy, I'm out. But nope, going at it. And then he had Serena Williams dancing on there, who was also a Drake ex-girlfriend or something. So he went hard at it. So, good for Kendrick, I guess. I don't really like his music or follow him at all, but I thought it was a good show, but I don't think it's fair to judge it on what probably most people saw, only because the audio quality was so bad on the broadcast. Go watch it on YouTube. You'll have a much better experience.
That's interesting to know, because like you, I couldn't understand a damn thing. Okay. And for me, pure entertainment value, I got to understand what's going on, or I should say understand what I'm hearing,
So do you know about the Drake and Kendrick?
That's the other thing. I think I've learned more about Kendrick Lamar in the last 24 hours than I ever wanted to know or cared to know. I did learn that I'm not a huge fan of his music. I understand he's kind of a big thing in the rap world. I understand he's a 22-time Grammy Award winner. I didn't know that. I understand he's a Pulitzer Prize winning writer. I did not know that.
Which is rare for a rapper.
Yeah. So obviously this guy has a lot of things to say. And I guess he's very conceptual in everything he does. Like every video he's ever made, obviously the Super Bowl halftime show, a ton of symbolism, with all the, messages behind what he was doing. Here's my issue though. And I know I'm in the minority, and I know this is, middle-aged white guy talking. So I get it. My problem, I don't have an issue with anything he did. Nothing. For me, there's a time and a place, and I know the argument would say, well, you've got the biggest audience in the world at the Super Bowl. I get that. But my question is, did the NFL sign off on all this beforehand? Because to me, at the beginning of the game, they had a former Saints player. I forget his name. And maybe he's still a current Saints player, but he spent time talking about everything that has gone on in the country with the wildfires and the hurricanes. And then he mentioned that terrorist thing in New Orleans that happened, the car crash, and then the two plane crashes, one in Philadelphia and one in the Potomac.
Yeah,
and they were talking
Cameron Jordan in the very beginning.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And he was talking about how, all this has happened, we're trying to bring the country together, and, all the choose love thing in the end zones and things like that. And then, so trying to bring, I guess, what you would refer to maybe a positive vibe to what was going on in the game, make everything hunky-dory. Hey, we're here to celebrate football. We're here to celebrate, the Super Bowl and all that stuff. And then you bring in an artist who, while obviously very talented, obviously very respected, you bring in a guy who has a message that is very, what's the word? I guess he had a very clear agenda of the message he wanted to get across. And it was kind of divisive in my world, talking about a lot of the Black struggle and the Black oppression and, how tough it is to be a Black person in America today. And I understand all that. I respect it. I just don't get why you kind of choose one and then choose the other and expect it all to come together. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so.
I just think it's a mixed message, I guess. But,
Yeah, I go back and forth on it because he's not for everybody, that's for sure. And I can certainly understand sort of the backlash. Like, all right, well, I don't really care for his music. I don't either, really. I'd like to see somebody else be up there every once in a while, right? It's like every other year or whatever it may be. But you've got such a broad fan base that it was a very well-received show by a lot of people. Everybody liked it. I thought it was a great show. Feel like his music, no. But I think if you do have that platform, it's almost like Chappell Roan at the Grammys using her acceptance speech to call out the music industry. You have the biggest microphone in the world, and look, this is not out of the normal for Kendrick Lamar. A lot of his music and his art that he does is, politically charged, racially charged, whatever it may be. So it's not out of the normal for what he would do. I think the question was how blatant was it going to be, and was he going to go after Drake? Those are the two questions in my mind, because I'm not shocked by what I saw. I thought it was a really well done, choreographed, show. And like I said, you watch on YouTube, it's a lot better. The audio quality is way better than what we saw on YouTube TV, or at least on the national broadcast that I saw. So, but I get it. I think it's almost like Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. When is the right time? Are you supposed to scream and do it behind doors where nobody can hear you? Or do you do it in front of people's face and make people uncomfortable at a time when everybody's watching? I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I think that sentiment is very similar.
That's very fair. I think that's a very fair question. I think a lot of people, from what I read, it's like people either really loved it or people really hated it. And those that hated it supposedly didn't, quote unquote, get it, And I
think it depends on what article you read and for what news outlet would determine whether people like it.
Yeah, and I was just,
and that's just the way the news works today.
And I was just reading it on, the reactions on Twitter and on Facebook and all that stuff. And it's like, I'll admit I didn't get it and it wasn't something I was necessarily looking for. And maybe it just goes to show that maybe some of the stuff that was represented, I'm just oblivious to.
That's possible. I mean, we're both two white men.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
and I'm
me
not...
in my 40s and you in your 80s, you know, so, you know, it's hard for us to relate. And okay, that's fine. I mean, you know, do people relate to you and I talking about Metallica and Offspring and Nirvana and stuff like that?
No, probably not.
That's fine, right? But our age group does, and our, you know, circle and stuff like that. And that's fine, right? And I'm not saying that we have to be everything for everybody, but I'm not gonna belittle it or even try to critique it because that's not, I'm not qualified to do that. That's, I guess, what I'm saying.
No, it's fair. I think it's probably impossible to find something that appeals to everyone. You're never going to find it.
I mean, other than, you know, Lady Gaga. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, or if they convinced Taylor to, you know, perform or whatever.
No, they had a good one a couple years ago, right? When they had it was like a mix between they had rock and roll, they had pop, they had some rappers. It was a few years back, I think, but it was a really good kind of a mix of a show. There was a little bit of something for everybody.
Well, if I remember, there was Aerosmith with Nelly.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
And Britney Spears, and I don't remember if Justin Timberlake was part of that or not, but the one that will always stand above them all for me is Prince.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Prince actually played in the last Super Bowl the Bears played in Miami, and it was pouring rain.
Here's the thing: is I'm not a Prince fan. I don't really get his music or
that's
care
fair.
for it, but I can appreciate the art.
Yeah, when he played "Purple Rain" in the pouring rain, it was.
I've seen. Yeah,
awesome.
Okay, now I already know what you're talking about. Yeah,
you know, and then I think there was the one with U2 right after 9/11 happened, and they had all the names of, you know, all the people that died in the towers, and they played that. And, you know, I guess for me, a Super Bowl halftime show, I guess I'm looking for more entertainment. And to me, it wasn't entertaining, but to a lot of people, I know it was. So, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, it's music, right? I mean,
now,
they're going to like the band or not, or the act or not.
That's right. I mean, a lot of people hated it when The Who played. I loved it. A lot of people hated it when Tom Petty played. I loved it, you know, because those are more my style. You know, for me, I would love to see Metallica play the Super Bowl. I think they'd be amazing.
Oh, can you imagine? I mean,
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Or like a Foo Fighters or a Pearl Jam or, you know, an AC/DC type thing. I would love to see that. I mean, we've seen somebody from the hip hop R&B world for the last 5 years.
Actually, more than that, I think. It's been since 2019. I'm looking at the list, was Maroon 5.
It was Maroon 5, right? Yeah.
After that, you've got Shakira, Jennifer Lopez, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, Emmy Muniz, and then 2021 was The Weeknd, and then 2022 was a great one. Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. They had that whole diorama set up, which was awesome. Then you had Rihanna after that. And then last year, they had Usher with a whole bunch of special guests, Alicia Keys, Jermaine Dupri, Ludacris, Lil Jon, and then this year was Kendrick. So it's probably time to have it swing back to something maybe rocky or poppy or something like that. So I don't know.
Well,
I think there's a lot of competition too for the halftime show. Is do people stay tuned? Because remember, it used to be switch your channel to go watch this other halftime show and then come back to the games. Right. I didn't see a lot of that this year.
No, I didn't either. I know, what is it? I think it's Jay-Z's production company.
Yeah, he's like in partnership with Apple Music or something like that. And
with Apple
the ones
Music
that figured it out.
And the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, that comes up with that. So, you know, it's got to get by him so that immediately, if you want a rock act, that kind of screams Linkin Park at some point.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that's a tough one to do, though, with the death of Chester Bennington.
It is.
Because it's not the same Linkin Park that I think a lot of people want to see, for lack of a word. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, the new singer is really talented and it's fine, but it's not the same band.
No, it's not. It's not. And obviously they've put out one album and they got to kind of still find their, I don't want to say their sound, but kind of refind their fandom, if you will, you know, and reestablish himself in the mainstream. So,
yeah.
But
I would like to see, though, who would you go next year? Metallica, Foo Fighters, something more rocky?
I think Metallica's a no-brainer, man. I can't believe they haven't done it by now. I really can't, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised they haven't, but I think they've missed their window unless they have like a huge, massive hit album or, a couple songs or whatever it may be. Because as much as I like Metallica, they have not really had any major hits in a while.
They haven't, but every tour they do, it just is sold out.
It sells out because they have so many songs they can pull into from a catalog. And look, I think they're phenomenal, and I will go see them any day of the week. That's for sure. But I don't think that they're not hot right now, and that's what you need to drive viewers. Is you need who are these people, and that they're maybe if they can get convinced to do the Black Album or something like that, right? Don't play any of your new shit, play your old shit. And, maybe they die on their creative horse and they say, well, no, I'm going to play something off of Death Magnetic or, whatever it may be. They've only got, 20 minutes to do something?
I think it's 13.
30? Okay, so 30 minutes?
No, 13.
13 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a lot to get anything.
No.
Done.
So, yeah, I mean, it would be an Enter Sandman, Master of Puppets, Fade to Black type
medley.
Thing. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Never stop playing the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think enough people in the world know who Metallica is. I mean, if you brought up Metallica and say, you could bring in like Jesus, I don't know, like a Snoop Dogg or something like that.
With those guys.
You could collaborate.
I mean, they did it with the San Francisco Orchestra. I mean, I just saw a video of Kirk and what was it? Kirk and who's the Robert?
It's Robert Trujillo. Yeah,
was on a stage with Pantera at a club like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
co-singing "Walk" Pantera. Right?
Oh, it's crazy.
I would love to see a metal halftime show. I think that would be awesome. I just don't know if the NFL would sign off on it, knowing that they are playing very much the public perception and they're trying to, protect their image just as much as anything. Which is weird because a lot of the hip hop stuff is not great either.
Well, that's why I think the NFL needs to kind of go back and forth.
Yeah.
And I would even say this, even though I can't stand it, I'm not a fan, but at some point you're going to need to see a country lineup. You're gonna need to see like a Luke Combs or a, even though I freaking think he has.
I am not interested whatsoever, but there's a lot of people who will be, and that's fine.
Yeah, like a Luke Combs, Jelly Roll, Luke Bryan,
right.
What's his name, Morgan Wallen. I mean, people love these.
Yeah, I mean, those people
love these guys.
Yeah, I get it.
I wouldn't know a song.
I wouldn't care.
I'd
be like, all right, my wife would love it, I'm sure.
So would
not for me.
Yeah,
but hey, if the sport is for everybody, rotate it through different genres and. Do creative mix-ups and medleys and mashups, right? Between, get Beyonce out there doing her country album, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't know if people would be happy about that, but there's a lot of different ways that you could do something super creative and something that is unexpected, but probably appreciated. Like, when's the next time you're going to see, X and Y on the stage at the same time? Never. Only at the Super Bowl.
That's why I love watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, because they always have the concert at the end, and they always do, all the inductees do one song together. And it's always awesome, and it's always, a mix of whoever got inducted that year, no matter where they came from. So that's always fun. So, I mean, that's always, it's as long as you pick a song that works, it's always going to do well. So...
Yeah, I want to see some EDM too. Let's get some DJs up there and do some.
There you go.
Do some dubstep, maybe some Justice. Maybe Daft Punk comes out of retirement. Let's get some crazy shit out there.
I'd be down with some Daft Punk at halftime of the Super Bowl. It'd be awesome.
Daft Punk, 2007 Alive, fantastic. Go watch it on YouTube. Just turn off the lights, watch it in the dark, crank the music up, and that's it. You're done for the next hour.
Just lay back and enjoy it.
Just watch the show.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. No doubt. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. That's the NFL. Who did the Dodgers sign this week? What creative way are we spending money we don't have?
Well, I don't I don't have the figure yet because I don't know how much it took. They haven't announced it yet. But the Dodgers, this weekend, who did the Dodgers sign? They announced that they are bringing back one Kike Hernandez, probably their final move of the spring. According to their GM, Andrew Friedman, it was either we bring Kike back or we don't get anybody else. It was Kike or bust. He's kind of their do-everything guy off the bench. He can play pretty much every position on the field except for catcher or pitch. And, the guy's been a Dodger, I don't want to say icon, obviously, but he's just been a true Dodger guy for like the past 9 years. He signed with Boston a couple of years ago. They traded to get him back and all that kind of thing. So I think it's a good move for them. It's a good culture move. The fans love this guy. He is clutch in the playoffs. It makes sense. So I think the Dodgers are done for the offseason. I think they're going to win 120 games this year. I think they're going to win it all this year. I don't even know why we're going to play the season because I think they will repeat.
All right. Well, so let's not even play it. Let's just jump right into the playoffs. And
pretty much is what I'm saying.
Okay. Anything else on MLB, or you want to shift to NBA?
Well, I think, let's see, I'm sure the White Sox are pretty much done doing whatever the hell it is they're doing, and we don't even know what
catchers reported what, today or yesterday?
The Cubs did. The Cubs pitchers and catchers reported today because them and the Dodgers are opening the season in Tokyo. I think it's either a week or like a week and a half early, so they got to report early for spring training, which is kind of cool. The Cubs, I think they're probably finished, although they seem to still be kind of in the Alex Bregman sweepstakes, but they don't want to go long-term with him, and it sounds like the Blue Jays might be willing to go long-term, and when I say long-term, like 5, 6, maybe even 7 years. I would agree with the Cubs on that. I think if you could get them on a 2 or 3 year deal, I think that'd be great, but I think 6 or 7 years for Alex Bregman at this point is probably stupid. So we'll see what the Cubs do with that. They have a guy pretty much ready to go and Matt Shaw to play third base. But if they sign Bregman, it would help them in the short term. I just think they would hate that contract in about 3 years if they had to sign him long term. So
yeah, but do you think teams think about it that perspective, or it's like, all right, we'll deal with that in 4 years? You think so?
I think the Cubs do. I think the teams that have to be somewhat financially responsible, I think they do.
Wait, teams have to be financial? I mean, just do what the Dodgers are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
The Cubs are 30-1 odds to win the World Series and have a target of 86.5 wins for the season. Do you think that's realistic?
Yeah, I do. I would say the Cubs should be favored to win their division.
Okay. The Dodgers are plus 300 to win the World Series and are pegged at 102.5 games to win.
Hence why we shouldn't even play it, but,
Okay. And your White Sox, 400-1 to win the World Series and 50.5 games for wins.
50.5. Wow. I saw one. I saw one projection that had them at 60 wins, and I thought there's no way they're going to improve by 20 games. That's impossible. But
this is according to ESPN, and so they're the bottom choice. Actually, they're tied with the Colorado Rockies. Both are 400-1 odds.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. I will say this for the White Sox. They have a decent stable of young starting pitching. And if they kind of perform as expected, that will get them to maybe 55 wins or something like that. Position player-wise,
if they don't dump one of them at the trade deadline because they are still rebuilding or salary or something.
I mean, as far as tradable assets, Luis Robert is the only guy that would bring them back anything. And that's only if he stays healthy. I think they missed the boat in not trading him this offseason. Now, I know this offseason isn't over yet, but he probably presents too big of a risk health-wise. So he needs to kind of prove to the world that he can stay healthy. Because I know there are teams that are out there that could really use a healthy Luis Robert, and he would bring back a fair amount of value in return, but I think it's too big of a gamble.
Is he a guy you build a team around?
If he's healthy, yeah. But
if he's healthy,
here's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. He can't stay healthy, one. And in the White Sox case, his contract is going to be up in like 3 years. The Sox are a lot further away than 3 years, unfortunately.
Okay.
So it's the same argument as trading Garrett Crochet. The guy was going to leave in free agency in 2 years anyway. You have to get something for him.
Right.
Luis Robert's going to leave in 3 years from free agency anyway. They're not going to sign him. He's going to want too much money. So you have to get something for him before he leaves, while his value is high. So,
but you still end up in this perpetual cycle of rebuilding if you don't ever have people stick around.
Well, it's almost too late for this crew. It's like now we're waiting for the next group, right?
Right.
And you have to kind of it's like you're already there. You've already missed the boat with this group. So time to move on, completely move on, which is why they got rid of Tim Anderson, which is why they got rid of Moncada, which is why they got rid of Eloy, those guys, and why they traded the pitchers they traded. It's like, okay, we missed the boat on these dudes. Let's draft better, trade away for prospects, develop these guys and see what we've got, and then assess from there. And if these guys are starting to, grow and show that they can play, then that's the time to, okay, maybe we're 1 or 2 players away from contending. Then let's go add the free agents or something like that, or make a trade from our own farm system to bring in somebody from another team that they're getting rid of. And then maybe we'll contend. But I mean, the Sox basically bottomed out last year, and they still might be in the bottoming out stage this year. So, it's just, they're a long way from being any good. It's hell, I could be 60 before they're any good, to be honest with you. So we'll see.
Well, what else? NBA?
Yeah, so there's that. So some interesting aftermath of the good old Luka Doncic trade that we talked about last week. So Luka is, I guess, supposed to make his Lakers debut tonight, finally, as he was coming off injury. But Anthony Davis didn't even make it a game without
Anthony Davis doing Anthony Davis things.
Yes, I guess he's out with an abductor strain, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. But I guess he's going to miss potentially a couple of weeks.
So I'm hearing weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Anthony Davis. Great player, can't stay on the court.
I know.
Love, what was it? Charles Barkley had a just a brutal nickname for players like that. He'd call them street clothes, which is
hilarious.
Probably the most cutting, biting, brilliant nickname that I can think of is he's street clothes. He doesn't dress for games. And
I love it. I'll be honest with you, inside the NBA with Charles and Shaq and Kenny Smith and Ernie Johnson, one of the best pregame and postgame shows on television. It is so hilarious.
Yeah. They've got a really good chemistry dynamic, but street clothes Anthony Davis out for, week. And, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan somehow, I mean, your world went to shit in the last week.
You've got to be even more pissed off than you were before. I mean,
it's like, all right, well, at least you got Anthony Davis, and he's a good player. Oh, he's out again. Of course he is.
We're in win now mode. Now we can make the playoffs, and now he's out for a month, and that's horrible. And then I guess, what is it? Kyrie Irving is going to replace him in the All-Star game, so, whatever. But the other half of this is, so the Davis trade left them without a big guy. So they turned around and traded, was it Cam Reddish and their rookie Dalton Connect to, I think it was Charlotte, for their center, Mark Williams.
Good.
Well, Mark Williams failed his physical. So they rescinded the trade. So Connect and Reddish remain with the Lakers. And the Lakers now have no starting center of any substance at all. So that's now a problem that they have as they try and move forward and make the playoffs and all that. So
I got a problem here. Failed physical. I feel like that is a cop-out for, second-guessing a trader. Oh, shit, I made a bad trade. You fail a physical for an NBA player. Like, I feel like that is just like, they'll find a doctor that, of course, they'll, we need you to fail this guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess this guy has some injury history. I guess he had back surgery last year. But to my knowledge, he was playing this year. I'm going to look him up right now while we're talking, and just it's a very
Don't wiggle your computer and unplug your microphone.
No, it's on my phone. Yeah, no, we won't get into Sunday Night Football or any of that stuff. With music playing and all that. But yeah, he was. So this guy this year was averaging 25 minutes, 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 2.5 assists a game. So it's not like he didn't play all year. Although it looks like he hasn't played in at least the last 3 games. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, something's fishy.
Yeah. I mean, come on, really? Like, it's okay. Like I said, I just feel like the failed physical is the ultimate a mulligan in trades.
Very weird. And I'm still trying to figure out why the Mavericks made that deal. At first, I remember last week I tried to justify it a little bit, but at the end of the day, I don't get it. I really don't. And, I think, was it Matt or Justin or one of the two of them was talking about, well, the NBA feeds the Lakers. There might be something to that because I think the NBA likes it when the Lakers are good because they're one of their, featured franchises, right? With, the Lakers in the 80s and Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and all the glitz and glamour that comes with the Lakers and all that shit. So I don't know. The whole thing is just weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than I just think it's a cop-out. It's, oh, shit, we fucked up. Fail that guy.
Could be.
Send him back.
Could be.
Whatever.
Could be. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, LeBron, depending on if LeBron and Luka can figure out how to play together, LeBron's going to have to do a hell of a lot more work than he did before.
Yeah, on a 40-year-old beat-up body, too. He's been playing that. A lot more load management, I think we'll see out of him if that's the case.
That's true, but I think in saying that, the other night, he had like a 40-point, 15 rebound, 10 assist game or some shit like that. So it's not like he can't do it. I just don't know if he could do it consistently.
He's the kind of guy where I'm not going to bet against it. Like, I think he's just, he's that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant mentality. He will fight through it and will himself, even if it takes him chucking up, 30 shots a game and only makes, a third of them, he will do everything in his power to power through it.
Yeah, like, okay, here, I'm looking at it right now. So since that deal against the Clippers, he scored 26 points, had 8 rebounds and 9 assists. Then against Golden State, he had 42 points, 17 rebounds and 8 assists.
Slacker.
Now, granted, 2 days later, he did not play at all against the Pacers. So, you're probably going to get some of that too, with the quote unquote load management with LeBron, as you always get with LeBron. That's why he'll never compare to Jordan, because as we talked about, Jordan played 82 games a year every year. So,
well, that's
granted,
why Jordan's Jordan, and everyone else is not.
Yeah. Now, granted, Jordan's not playing at the age of 40 and not in his 22nd NBA season, but still.
No, but he'd still go out there and he'd school kids after he was done.
Oh, yeah.
And, there was a Corey Benjamin story and, other players like that where it's like, yeah, he's retired and he still comes back and shows who's the boss. Like, I love that killer mentality. He's probably not healthy, probably not a nice dude, but, on I'll call it the best NBA player ever, yeah, that's what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we love Mike, especially here in Chicago. So
yeah. I was watching, I don't remember, it was yesterday or the day before, a compilation of like the top 100 dunks of all time. And it was just, a variety of dunks from over the years. And I certainly didn't agree with the order. And I don't even remember who were in the top ones. It was like, there were ones that were like in the 80s and 50s and like 30s. They're like, that is way better than anything I saw in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
But, there was Jordan. Vince Carter was a beast. And in-game dunks. I'm not talking about dunk contests. I'm talking about in-game dunks.
Yeah,
he has him.
Yeah, Vince Carter's the best in-game dunker ever. No doubt.
So he's had some good ones. Blake Griffin has had some good ones too.
He's had some good ones too.
Some crazy good ones. And he's one other one that kind of just fizzled out after only, a few years. Derrick Rose made the list a couple times. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. That was awesome. So there was a couple by him, and there's what was it? Sean Kemp, where he did the point at the guy. Like, I don't know how that's not number one. You've got Jordan over Mutombo. That was a top one. I mean, there was a lot of good ones. There was some missing too, like Starks against the Bulls in the playoffs didn't make it.
Starks against the Bulls. Who was it? I think was it Baron Davis? Do you remember that? He dunked over some big man one time.
Yep. Manu Ginobili made the list. Yeah, Kobe Bryant made a bunch of them, and that's the era of basketball I wanted to see. Was in game, in your face, posterized people, not this 3-point shooting stuff, but it was a nice throwback to say, oh shit, I forgot about just how good some of these players were, especially when they're pulling out some of the crazy dunks they're doing, and some of these guys are like head above the rim. And just
no, it's unfortunate. I mean, basketball now it's kind of boring. In fact, you know what? It's not kind of boring. It is boring. It is.
I don't watch it because it's not entertaining to me.
Right. I mean, I enjoy the playoffs. I enjoyed watching, some games in the NBA Cup when it mattered. But I'm sorry, a mid-season game in early February, boring as hell.
Yeah, so, unless you've got a couple star players, are going to, be good, entertaining basketball, no matter what they are. I mean, I think, right. I'd still go and watch, Steph Curry shoot 3-pointers all day long. But do I want to see that for, 82 games a season? No, not really.
No, because it's the same thing, right?
Right.
Whereas when those guys
it's different
played,
if I'm a Golden State fan and I'm winning. Of course I'm going to be watching it, but it's just it's a different brand of basketball.
Yeah, because back when Jordan played or Kobe played, you couldn't look away because you might miss something you'd never see before. Whether it was a dunk or a steal or, some crazy move or whatever.
Or straight up fight.
Hey, yeah. I mean, the game I went to at the Target Center, Minnesota, I mean, the best player on the court, and on paper, I'm not saying based on how they played, but the best player entering that game was either Rudy Gobert or Kyle Kuzma, for Christ's sake. I mean, doesn't get a whole lot more boring than that. I mean, Anthony Edwards had the flu, I guess. And then he comes back 2 days later and scores 49 points. But whatever. We missed it.
You're not bitter. You're not bitter at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I paid $30 to sit in the very last row of that place.
Well, you got to experience basketball in a different state, in a different stadium. So
yeah, it's cool. I mean, it was something I never did before and most likely will never do again. So,
and see, I'm relatively close to Madison Square Garden, and say I don't business travel well because I don't spend any extra time when I travel.
Okay.
I flew in today. I'm doing this tonight in my hotel. I've got to be in the office tomorrow at 8 a.m. And then I go out, take my client to dinner or something like that, and then come back, sleep, and then get on an airplane and come home. Like there's no sightseeing whatsoever. And I love New York City. I've only been coming here for like the last decade, really, as I've had this job and kind of clients in the area. You cannot go a block in this city without finding amazing food. It is absolutely nuts. Even like just this, what looks like a shitty little deli next to the Sheraton where I'm staying right now in Times Square. I had one of the best Philly cheesesteaks in my life. Even before we hit record here. That's just the way the city is. There's always something to do. It's better, I think, in the fall or spring too, when you can kind of walk around a little bit. It's kind of cold right now, but it's just a great city to just stay downtown and just walk around and just absorb humanity. Nuts.
Yeah, I'd love to see it sometime. Now, would your work schedule allow you to say schedule an extra day or an extra half day to do that kind of thing? Or
I totally could. I just don't. And I don't do this. I mean, look, I travel a lot for work. I would say every other week, typically, I'm going somewhere. Most of it's not sexy. Most of it is, places that just aren't, fun. But New York City is a good one. I always, whenever I get a chance to go to Chicago, I'm always, back to Chicago, get my Portillos and, see friends in town and stuff like that. But, for the most part, like I was in Franklin, where was I? Franklin, Massachusetts. I think it was last week. I don't remember. And I was like, all right, I'm staying at a residence in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's like, it's not, you can't do anything. So if the Super Bowl wasn't Sunday, I probably would have come in a day early and then, worked from a hotel or something and then, walked around or something like that.
Okay.
But we've got the Super Bowl Sunday. We've got Valentine's Day on Friday. So it's
right.
Like, well, what am I really going to do, around those dates and not be home? Like, that's crazy. Maybe next time. But
there you go.
It's a great city. If you haven't been here, it's fun. Just grab a relatively cheap hotel downtown. They're really not that crazy, especially in off-peak seasons. And walk around. I mean, I can see Times Square from my hotel window.
That is cool.
I'm not going to be able to sleep because I'm going to just have lights and sirens going all night, but it's still cool to look at.
I've never been. My sister has been. She has run the New York City Marathon. She has been there to watch friends of hers run the New York City Marathon, and I know she's been there just like on a friend's trip for like 2 or 3 days, and every time she has loved it. So
she's more of New York than I ever have of Chicago.
Okay,
which is a weird thing to say considering I lived in Chicago for 40 years.
Yeah, right.
But I've walked more of New York City than I ever have of Chicago.
Yeah, over the years, I mean, I've lived here forever. Grew up here, never really left outside of 2 years of high school and then a year of college. But I haven't really done a whole lot in the city. And I wish maybe, once the kids are gone, if I still live here, Michelle and I maybe will do more things in the city. But I wish, like before, I got married and had kids, like when we were younger, we should have ventured into the city more. We should have done a lot more than we did. I mean, we did some stuff with, a few concerts and stuff like that. But, I think did we play whirly ball downtown one time?
I don't remember. I mean, I mostly remember playing in.
I know we played in
Roosevelt Road or whatever that was.
Yeah, we played there, but I thought we played the whirly ball downtown one time. I think it was like a Chili's outing or some shit like that. But
everything we did was a Chili's outing because that's all. Yeah, that's how we all work together. So everything was a Chili's outing. Oh yeah, I got to tell you something. I am pissed at Chili's because they ruined the Super Bowl for me yesterday. I was like, you know what? I haven't had in a long time. Some chips and queso from Chili's. I'm going to order some, and Barbara's going to pick it up, and we're going to have wings and chips and queso, and have a good old party here for the Super Bowl. And guess who's out of fucking chips and queso?
No.
How do you not have chips and queso? I'm guessing the queso, but how do you not have skillet beef queso on Super Bowl Sunday?
Oh, man. Wow.
So fuck you, Chili's, and fuck you and Brinker or whoever else owns you now for not having and ruining the Super Bowl for me.
Wow.
You're my dumbasses of the week. How about that?
There you go. All right. Dumbass of the week to Chili's in Asheville?
Tunnel Road.
Asheville, North Carolina. You suck. Screw you. Get your shit together.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Open up the Red Book and look at what happened last year. Come on, guys.
Yeah. It's not that hard. People are going to be calling in. It's only the probably the biggest day for queso, I'm guessing, of the year.
Yeah. God, I remember Super Bowl. Okay, I remember Super Bowl being like party platter central in Chili's world. You know, it was carry out. It was crazy nuts. I mean, the dining room was dead as hell, but God, to go was crazy all day long.
Yeah. I mean, that would be like Buffalo Wild Wings running out of wings.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you even going there for?
Yeah, because of all the things that have changed over the years since we worked at Chili's, you know, they've changed all the sandwiches, they've changed all the salads, all the burgers, all the fried stuff, everything. The one staple that they've always had was chips, salsa, and queso. Never changed, always the same, phenomenal. You still talk to a lot of people who say Chili's' chips, salsa, and queso are the best around. So
it's pretty good. I like it. I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I will eat it all day long. But it's a different queso than I think what a lot of people are expecting, which is more of a cheesy queso.
Well, then it's not spicy, right?
It's not spicy. Well, it can be, but I think of, more of like a white cheese,
Yeah, or it's more
queso,
yellowish.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking
like
about.
that.
Like,
versus the chili queso, which I love. I think it's fantastic. But
for
a lot of people, that's not queso.
No, I mean, I can't remember a time
they're wrong, but I love it.
I can't remember a time going to Chili's and not getting the queso.
Right.
That's like, yeah.
What are you doing with yourself? If you don't go to Chili's, you don't get chips and queso.
I agree.
Why are you there? You're there for the guiltless grill crap? Come on.
Oh, God.
Chili's.
Are you there for the tequila lime swordfish?
Mm.
Yeah. No,
I don't even think their wings are that good either, to be honest with you. I think the wings are just plain garbage. They're fine. Like, they're not. I don't know. I feel like I've developed a little bit more into a wing connoisseur in my later life. But I think they're just okay. And I don't think they're fantastic.
You know who used to really have good wings was Fridays. TGI Fridays had really Fridays good wings. Yeah,
Fridays is a bad trouble, man. They're like bankrupt. And I don't think anybody's thanking goodness it's Fridays anymore. When's the last time you were in the Fridays?
Oh, it's been years. It has been years. I think they're struggling.
I can tell you the last time I was in one. It was 14 years ago when we bought our house up in Barrington. We agreed to buy it with our realtor, who was my stepmom and still is. And we went to Fridays to think about our options and stuff like that. And we made a decision. TGI Fridays up on, what is that, route? I think it's Route 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Fridays is there anymore. But that's the last time I was ever in or ate TGI Fridays.
Well, there used to be a Fridays in Bolingbrook. It closed. There used to be a Fridays at Louis Joliet Mall. It closed. I'm not sure if the Fridays...
A lot of them are closed.
Yeah. So
a lot of them are bankrupt now, except for franchise ones.
Yeah. You don't hear a lot about Applebee's as much anymore. I mean, they're still out there.
I see a lot of Applebee's commercials for us here.
Do you?
Yeah. And they're I think they're trying to be like the low cost value, not diner, but, and a step above fast casual, I guess. But I think they're really kind of trying to combat the Chili's thing.
I gotcha.
But we see a lot of Applebee's commercials here. I haven't been to one, but I see a lot of commercials for them.
I haven't either. I haven't either, but I know you said F you Chili's, and I understand why, but I got to hand it to them. They're still relevant. They're still out there. They seem to be.
I still think it's the best training program I was ever a part of was Chili's.
Yeah, I agree.
Being trained like that, things they had their shit together.
Yeah, they have done things right. I think this. In fact, I know this is their 50th year.
Wow.
Yeah, because I remember my only time going to Las Vegas was their 30-year anniversary, and it was in 2005. And I got this, actually, it's right over here. I got some commemorative plate, and it says, 30 sizzling years, 1975 to 2005. So, yeah, this is their 50th year. So, crazy.
Well, good for them. I mean, obviously, being around that long, you got to do something, right?
Yeah, but stock the fucking queso, man. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so they're my dumbass of the week for not having queso on a Super Bowl Sunday.
That's a great call.
You ruined it for me. I had to run out and get a pizza instead. I was like,
Oh man,
my house on Super Bowl Sunday. Fuck you.
we did. What did we do? We did some wings, but our wings we bought them at Jewel, and they were good. Michelle made some quesadillas; those were good. So we just kind of did a hodgepodge, whatever. It was just the two of us watching the game. Joshua was down at ISU, Illinois State, chilling with his friends, and obviously the other two boys are gone. So yeah, low key at home.
Brought home some fancy wings from some place I can't remember. It's a Chinese, like a Thai place, I think.
Okay,
it was like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like caramel and chili flakes, and they were prepared well. They were a little too peanut buttery for me, if that makes sense.
okay, yeah.
They were fine, but they were not the wings I wanted. And so my backup plan was, all right, we'll get chips and queso and some chicken crispers. Like, all right, that's fine. Like, I'll just do that. So instead, I went and got a Detroit style pizza instead. But yeah, I'll say it again. Fuck you, Chili's. Chili's Asheville specifically.
Chili's Asheville.
Yeah.
Wow.
I tell you what I'm into now is Korean fried chicken, Korean wings. You ever had those?
I never have. I've heard they're good.
They're so good. And New York City is the best place to get them, man. Like,
okay.
I had some in my cart in the taxi from LaGuardia to my hotel. And then I was like, I'm just going to hit the deli next door. And I was like, fuck that. I'm getting cheesesteak and Philly fries. And it was fantastic. But Korean wings are amazing if you get good ones.
Okay.
Hands down. They're better than any other wing that I've had.
I will try and hunt some down around here. I'll admit.
They're hard to find, but they're good. If you get good ones, they're good.
I am stuck on the Maxwell Street Polish from Portillo's. For years, and I'm talking a long ass time. I was their Italian beef. It was either the Italian beef or a burger. To me, their Italian beef has gone downhill a little bit. It's still good, but it's not what it used to be. I still think they have one of the best cheeseburgers around. Phenomenal.
It's good. Mm-hmm.
But about a year ago, I went in there and I'm like, I need to just try something different just once. So I had a Maxwell Street Polish, which is basically Polish sausage grilled with mustard and grilled onions. That's all it is. And ever since, I've gotten it just about every time we go there. Phenomenal.
See, I'm a purist. give me 2 hot dogs, only onions, cheese fries. And then either a piece of chocolate cake or a chocolate shake. I don't want to get greedy with it, right? But I'm a hot dog guy. That's just how I roll at any Portillo's.
I like their hot dogs. Their hot dogs are good. I mean, they're all the Vienna beef ones, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm not an animal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do. The first time I land any place that has a Portillo's that I can get to, so it's either really Chicago area, or I would go up to Minnesota, up into what was it, St. Paul, that area, and I would land. I'd have a rental car and I'd drive to the closest Portillo's because they have some up there, and they have no idea what they're missing. Like, they're not busy up there. It's crazy. You can go to Portillo's, and it's like there's no line.
Yeah, there's a Portillo's about 15 minutes from Jeremy's house where he lives, and half of his roommates have never been there.
Yeah, I don't get it. I have a client up there and be like, oh man, it's comfort food. Like, why aren't you going there?
I'm like, Germ. We call Jeremy Germ. So I'm like, Germ, you've never taken these guys there ever? And he's like, no. I'm like, what's the matter with you? And then, but his other 2 roommates are like, oh yeah, Portillo's is the best. It's the best thing out.
You didn't raise that boy right if he's not taking
Apparently not. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean,
dude, I took a client to Portillo's and I said, like, this is I didn't even give him a choice. I said, this is where I'm going tonight. You're welcome to join me if you want to. And hey,
Fair.
He's a good dude. We met it there and, had a good meal and stuff like that. But yeah, I make it a point to get Portillo's anytime I can, because there's nothing like it in North Carolina. I think Cookouts is supposed to be like the equivalent. It's shit compared to Portillo's. You can't get a good hot dog, at least in Western North Carolina, that I've seen.
Yeah, I'm a hot dog fan like you. What they're building around here I think there's like 3 of them now, and I know there's a couple more in the plans. Is Portillo's that's just all drive-through.
Makes sense.
Much
less
smaller
real estate and faster service, and
not as much overhead. You don't have to staff as many people, any of that. But there's one probably about 15 minutes from here, and they're always busy. I mean, it's just cars. It's still Portillo's drive-through is still the greatest drive-through service I've ever seen. The way they operate it, so
super efficient. Can't go wrong with it.
No doubt.
Guy's a billionaire for selling hot dogs and Italian beef. It's crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, he sold a couple years ago, right? Dick Portillo.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, he sold out for $1 billion.
I would do that too.
Yeah. Well, I think now that it's kind of why Portillo's has expanded to other parts of the country.
Yeah, I see them in Texas, Arizona, a lot of places where there's a lot of Chicago and, expats. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I know they're starting to Southern California, but yeah, Arizona, Florida, Texas, like you said. I think Minnesota, has the one that you probably were referring to. But yeah,
it's up in Maple Grove. It's like Northwest. I think you have a couple up there, but
yeah, it maybe Bloomington, whatever the hell. But a suburb of Minneapolis, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're starting to pop up all over. So I just hope it doesn't totally diminish the charm and the what it's known for. It doesn't take away the quality of the product. So
as long as you keep the hot dogs and cheese fries and the chocolate cake, it's all that matters. You can get that chocolate cake shipped. I've actually had 2 of them shipped to my house for various reasons, birthdays and I think holidays and stuff like that. People have sent me an entire Portillo's chocolate cake, and you basically have to assemble it yourself.
Okay.
And they know what they're doing, man. It comes in a box. They got like Italian beef. They give you the rolls. They give you the giardiniera, like everything. It's fantastic. And it even comes with a Portillo's, paper hat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there you go.
Nice.
If you're looking for something to send to somebody outside of Chicago, Portillo's, box is always appreciated.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with any of that. I'll never say a bad thing about Portillo's. I know, maybe their quality.
The guy was kind of a jerk, but whatever.
What's that?
I heard the guy was a kind of a jerk.
Portillo
or whatever it was.
Yeah, but I mean, you're running $1 billion plus business. Right. I mean,
you're not going to be happy with everybody.
Right. Supposedly, he had this room in his house full of like security screens or whatever, and he could see every restaurant he had from one room, all at the same time.
That doesn't shock me because that seems like a very Chicago hot dog king kind of thing to do.
My first job ever was at a hot dog place in Naperville. It was called Pedigree's. And the owner of that place was a former Portillo's GM. He ran the one up on Butterfield in Downers Grove, which at the time was like the busiest one in the system. And like our menu was like exactly the same as Portillo's and all that stuff, but we just couldn't match the product for whatever reason. I mean, we tried, but everything was just a little off. But I worked there. I worked there for about 5 years. It was a good job. I liked it. My first management job before I started Chili's. That's actually where I worked right before I started at Chili's in Bolingbrook was that Pedigree's place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of good times.
I did not know that.
Had a lot of fun there. A lot of firsts for me there. It was fun.
Restaurant jobs are amazing. Everyone should have to serve. That's what I feel.
Yeah,
like.
I agree. Yeah, no, good times, man. A lot of fun. So,
all right. You got anything else?
No, not really. How long are you in New York for? You said tomorrow and then back home?
Yeah, I fly out early Wednesday, so it's Monday night now. I was recording this, and be out here. So fly in, do my work, get out at home.
Nice.
And pick up the Polestar, and I'm getting my rims taken care of right now. As the final aftermath from my winter damage, but everything's good now. So
That's good. That's good.
We're back up and running, baby.
The world is better when Polestars are working. I can tell you.
That is your Polestar, my Polestar. Everything's good.
Yeah, mine's in good shape, so no after effects of that. It's kind of funny because I'll admit, I hate this time of year. I hate it. When it's cold, it's early February, it's just gray, and it's,
Should come down to Nashville. It was 60 all week, basically. High 60s. Went for a walk in, short sleeves and track pants, took the dogs around downtown Nashville area in the park. It was great. Come on down.
I need to move out of here because this is
the worst part of the year for Chicago by far.
Yes, it just I can't even freaking describe it. I'm trying to spit it out here, but it's just ugh. You wake up, it's like you wake up in the morning, it's cloudy, it's cold, it's probably windy. We're expected to get like 6 inches of snow on Wednesday, and it's like,
really?
God damn it! Oh yeah, and it's like we haven't had a whole lot of snow this year, which I am in full favor of. I love it. It's great. It's like every time we get to like New Year's, right after New Year's, I'm like, okay, bring me March 15th. Because that's when the first day you see 50 and you see a consistent 50, I'm like, all right, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And we got a couple of days of 50 about a week ago. And now it's like, oh,
Wednesday.
Good
for February, January. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I need to kind of remember, okay, dummy, it is February 10th, but I'm just like, okay, you get that teaser, like that little taste of Indian summer where you can walk outside without a jacket on for an hour.
Yeah, still spring.
Yeah, but like I said, 6 inches of snow. I think next Monday the high is supposed to be like 9, and it's like, fuck, man. We still got more of this crap.
It's done. I don't want to go in the heat and humidity. That's why I picked where I picked. Well, my wife and I picked where we picked, but I'm happy with where we're at. It's fantastic.
No, it's awesome. I'll get there at some point. But I'll take the heat and humidity over this anytime. I hate this.
The thing is, it's not really that humid in the mountains.
That's good.
I think the elevation helps with it, and that was kind of like my line. Now they've always said like Western North Carolina up in the mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains has been like a climate refugee type place because of really not having any major things, until a hurricane smashes your entire region to smithereens.
Yeah,
it's still being still trying to recover from, but it's not too cold, it's not too hot. You got maybe a little bit of snow, a couple hot days. The rest of it is good.
It's fair. Well, yeah. Maybe someday.
Would you ever consider being a snowbird and having a place up north and a place down south? And then migrating between the two. I mean, obviously, finances are a separate thing, but would you be willing to live in 2 different places?
Yes. If I can afford it, absolutely. Absolutely.
What if it was like a trailer, or like, let's say you obviously get your home base in Chicago, but you get like a camper trailer or something like that, and you kind of go south for the winter, or like whatever it may be.
Like a townhouse, or something small, whatever.
Yeah, something you can float around, right?
Or like an apartment or whatever. I would totally do that. I would be fine with that.
I don't think enough people look at that because they think they get too much set up at home and they invest so much in there. They don't really, and there's a lot of affordable places that you could probably, if you say, okay, well, let me split, my housing payment between 2 different places. You could have like, an apartment or a condo, one in the winter and one in the summer. I just don't know if people really want to move that often, or, be that sort of that migratory bird. It's a little bit different mentality. It's like, all right, well, we got to pack up all our shit again in 6 months.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, but I would do it. I mean, I'll admit, Chicago in the summer, phenomenal. Even in the dog days of August when it's, it could potentially be really hot and humid. And I get that, but like Chicago in May and June,
and like October,
September, October, November, even November, early November. It's just great. I love it here, But yeah, those 8 weeks between middle of January, all of February, and early March are just brutal. So, but hey, I've handled it for the better part of 50 years. So,
Yeah.
Most people would say, well, Jay, if you hate it so much, move. So,
right. Moving sucks, though.
No, I know.
Sucks so bad. I hate it. I'm very fortunate. My wife architected the whole thing. I was like, all right, if you want to move, you're going to have to project manage the show this. And she did.
Well, that's good.
All right, that's good. Like I think I packed up my office, and that was really the only thing I had to do.
Oh, wow.
And everything else was taken care of. And we had a shitty moving story kind of experience. I'll say that for a future episode, but not because of her, but just because of other circumstances. But yeah, I mean, I hate moving, and I do not want to do it again.
Yeah, moving is not fun. Thankfully, we haven't had to move in the last, we've been here almost 22 years.
Jeez, that's a long time.
Yeah.
For the kids, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, Justin was 2, or he was about to turn 2, and Jeremy was born 2 months after we moved here. And, obviously they're 23 and 21 now, so, yeah, we haven't had to do anything since. But I will tell you, moving out of here would be a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
But it would also be a great opportunity to get rid of a ton of shit.
Yeah, it kind of forces your hand in that manner. And
yeah, it does.
That's kind of what we did was, all right, do we need it? Get rid of it. Yeah. Get rid of it, sell it.
Yeah.
See if the buyers want to keep it, or sell it to the buyers separately or whatever maybe.
I mean, I look around my basement alone and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't imagine having to pack all this up and load it up and haul it up the stairs and all that stuff.
That's why you pay movers.
Yeah, true.
Moving is a young man's game, and I am not a young man anymore.
Yeah, it's true. I don't even know what it cost. I don't even know how much it costs to move.
It was less expensive than I thought it would be. We did Windy City Movers, I think it was, in the Chicago area, going from Chicago to North Carolina. I want to say, I could probably look it up, but I want to say it was something like $9,000, $10,000, or something like that.
Okay.
Even that, I feel like is probably more than we paid, but
yeah,
it was not as expensive as I thought it would be for the peace of mind and they showed up and it was like 10 guys and they immediately started wrapping everything. Like they grab shit, put it in boxes and do whatever. And they were like, it took them probably 8 to 10 hours, I think, to get everything packed, and they were late and whatever it is, but they were like, it was just like they took care of everything. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, we moved from obviously Chicago to upstate New York and then back to Chicago. I remember we paid movers, and it was like they came and packed the entire house one day, and then they came and loaded it all up the next day, and we were gone. So
yeah, see, they did it all on the same day. It was kind of crazy. It was like we basically just gave an estimate. I think we had somebody come out and, whatever it was, but
quote it, and then
it was a Chicago mover type thing. It wasn't Windy City; it was something else. I don't remember the name of it, but they were. I think they were highly rated. They showed up, and our stuff. So we left. They left on a Thursday, and they were there Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty quick for movers because usually they give you like a week or 2 week window.
Yeah.
But they literally, it was like 2 of the same guys, they drove the truck down. Basically, they did it in 2 days. I did it overnight going from Chicago to Asheville. But for them to pack everything up all day Thursday and then show up on Saturday and spend basically 2 guys all day Saturday were unloading the truck, which is kind of crazy. I thought it was like they had and load it, and then only 2 unload it, so it took them fucking forever.
But you guys had to unpack everything, right?
They moved. No, the boxes, yes, but they set up the beds. It was all that stuff. Like, they did all that stuff. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was a good experience. Like moving sucks.
It does,
but I would definitely hire movers again. I wouldn't try to do it just for myself.
Well, let's see if the job I have now, I'm kind of stuck here. But as I mentioned last week, I'm kind of interviewing for a new position within the company. If I get that job, that's totally remote, so I can live anywhere. So that'll be, I'll kind of be in a situation that you are. You can just kind of live anywhere and do whatever you need to do. So that would open up some options, possibly. Plus, I'll have kids out of school, and, they'll be on with their lives and doing whatever they want to do, and we'll see where that leads us. One of them's in Colorado. We'll see where the other two wind up, and then we may be saying, see ya, to Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, you just never know. It was New City Moving, by the way. That's who it was. And I'm trying to find the price. Yeah, $10,000. $10,400, basically.
Gotcha.
And took care of it all. I don't know if they were cheap or more expensive than others, but the peace of mind was worth it at that point.
For sure.
At least I took care of everything.
I am totally open to moving. I'll admit, I'm ready for something new. There is nothing outside of my job and the kids that really tie me here, if that makes sense. I would love to see something new. I've lived here pretty much my entire life. Moved here when I was 4. Went back to New York for 2 years of high school. Went away to college for a year. But outside of that, I've lived here. And it's like, okay, I don't travel enough, so I need to go experience something else. I'm ready for something else.
Travel's great. I love it. I think you end up in Colorado out by your dad and stuff like that. I think you would like that area. I mean, you lived there, didn't you, at some point?
I never lived in Colorado.
Or was that your sister,
did.
maybe?
Yeah, my sister did.
Yeah.
They moved out there the summer of 96, and I stayed here. And I'll admit, I would move there tomorrow. It's awesome out there. It's almost as expensive as it is to live here, but it's super
also,
nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Although let's be real. I mean, it's pretty much expensive everywhere you go these days. So
yeah, unless you're away from a major metro area, it's the prices. They're going to get. You're going to pay for it one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah,
everyone always asks is like Asheville is really not any cheaper than Chicago area. Like taxes are lower, but everything else is a little bit more expensive. So it kind of like it evens out.
Well, it's like my dad lives in a much bigger house than I do, but his property taxes are proportionately less, if that makes sense.
Oh, it's crazy how much lower they are here.
Yeah, per square foot. But
it's
like stuff like the little things like renewing your driver's license is a hell of a lot more expensive out there than it is here. There's other things that are a hell of a lot more expensive out there than it is here. So it all evens out somehow. So
and you get a little bit what you pay for too. Like I do find services in the Chicago area, right in the suburbs where we were at, was way more consistent and better executed than what I get right now.
Sure.
We changed garbage providers like at the beginning of the year. Like the county changed it from Waste Pro or something to like FCC. We are a month and 10 days into the new service. I still don't have a fucking garbage can.
Whoa.
And I have been calling and emailing weekly. And even before then, like, where's our garbage can? Where's our garbage can? And all I get are, we opened a ticket. Oh, that's good. I'm like, tell me where the fucking garbage can is. I'll go get it.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid shit like that is so common around here.
Yeah, that's
like,
annoying.
Okay, well, garbage service is delayed a day. It's like, okay, I get it. It's the mountains and whatever. Or it's the electricity service doesn't stay up and running, anywhere near as consistently as ComEd. Shitty as ComEd was, it was kind of rare to actually have outages. Or the water system taking a complete crapper because it's not designed to hit, for hurricanes. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Stupid stuff like that, right? So it's like stuff like that is like the infrastructure is not as strong as a much more stable, big metro. Asheville's not a huge area. I think there's like population of like 90 or 100,000, I think, live in Asheville itself. So it's a relatively small area, but
God, that's
you
half
do
the
get
size.
what you pay for in some of those regards.
That's half the size of Naperville. Think about that. Naperville's over 200,000.
And it's much more spread out too.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Naperville, you think it was kind of like, it's kind of a big suburb, but it's not really. right? Like the like the how many miles across it is. It's decent, but it's not anything. Asheville is like tens and tens and tens of miles in every direction, basically, and it's nuts because most of it's mountains. You can't build on it.
Yeah, well, what's interesting to me is like you combine Naperville and Aurora, and it's got more population than Minneapolis.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Aurora's a lot bigger than people think. Give it credit.
They're both. I mean, both Naperville and Aurora right next to each other are 200,000 plus. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all outside of downtown Naperville, which isn't all that big. It's bigger than it used to be, but it's not. I mean, it's a couple blocks, but it's not huge. Downtown Aurora, same thing. It's all suburbia houses, strip malls and all that shit. So nothing crazy. So, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, these aren't even first percenter problems,
Yeah, exactly.
Or 1%ers, I should say.
I think these are everyone's problems. Like, doesn't matter how much money you make. You want the water to work. You want the electricity to work. You want garbage to get picked up. Like, you're paying for services. Like, what's going on here?
Hey, as long as you have the internet, that's all that matters.
Oh, we might have fiber coming soon, so I'm kind of very excited about that.
Oh, there you go.
Fiber internet's the shit.
Nice.
You can upload as fast as you can download, and for all the stuff that I do with uploading video and audio and stuff like that, that's a game changer.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah. All right. I'm done talking to you.
All right, man. I've had enough too.
Hour 36. I think that might be a record for us. So
yeah. Plus, I need to let out a sneeze like you wouldn't believe. So yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Do that off air, will you?
Yeah, I will for sure.
All right. I'll talk to you in a few days.
All right, man. See ya.
See ya.